Now is a perfect time to get to one of our favorite segments, and this is the Pros Asking Pros Questions segment. Oh, yeah. Starting off strong with one of the best players in all of pickleball, and that is none other than Ben Johns.
Hi, Adam. I have a couple questions for you. First of all, at your level, how do you become more of a non-basic pickleball player? Secondly, back in your poker days, did you have a favorite or a go-to play? Now, obviously, I know poker is very situational, but did you have a favorite?
Oh, man, great questions.
Okay. Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. So my poker play was just to frivolously just go all in a lot. That was my poker play. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did. No, I was a pretty aggressive player, kind of loose aggressive a little bit. So I would kind of, light some money on fire, but maybe get some calls and some big hands paid off that I probably shouldn't have. So just betting a lot. That's my favorite poker play for sure. And then in terms of non-basic pickleball play, it's a funny question, a little bit of an inside joke. So I don't know when this was, maybe a year and a half ago, something like that. I see Dekel sending me a little message down here at the bottom. So I asked Ben what he thought of my game and what he suggested that I might work on. And so basically he told me I was too basic. He did give me a little bit of credit. He said that, I was a good dinker and blocker and had a solid base for my game, but that when he played me, he wasn't very concerned because I just did simple shit all the time. So, I didn't really think much of that, and when he mentioned that, I very much took that to heart. He's a great player, smart kid, and even though he's half my age, I tend to listen to when he's talking, especially about pickleball. So I kind of started implementing some different speed ups from different parts of the court and kind of making my game a little less vanilla. And so I appreciate him for mentioning that, and hopefully I can just crush him with that knowledge that he gave me over and over again moving forward. That's what I would say about that.
This next question comes from a very good friend of ours, and that is Catherine Parenteau.
Hey guys, hi Adam, hi Eddie and Webby. I hope you're all doing well. I have a question for you, Adam. After all of this is over, what tournament are you looking most forward to?
Favorite tournament or a tournament looking forward to play? That is a good question. I had quite a full slate of tournaments before the current situation. I was talking about Eddie and Webby, how I like the Beer City Open, and a couple. It's one of my favorite non-major tournaments, and one of my favorite tournaments in general. And I have a couple tournaments in that mid tier that I'm a big fan of, but it's still nationals for me. I like the U.S. Open. I like TOC. I like multiple tournaments, but nationals, the facility, the courts, going there early and staying for the whole 8 or 9 days or whatever it is, it's just a really great experience, and I have found that I enjoy that tournament more than any other one. And I think I'm hoping it's far enough in the distance that it won't be messed with by any of this stuff, but being in early November. But I guess I'll just keep my fingers crossed for that, and I would definitely say nationals is the one I'm most looking forward to.
And this next question comes from somebody else that Adam has teamed up with on the pickleball court, and that is Suzee Anderson.
Hey there, Adam. So I've been thinking about what question to ask you, and I remember when I first met you and you told me you were a professional poker player, and I thought that was really cool. So my question for you is, have you found anything from your professional poker days that has helped you in your mental game or your ability to strategize or think ahead in your pickleball game?
Oh, Suzee, Appreciate that question. Hope things are good in Utah. I think that's a really good question, and I think that it absolutely, there's multiple things. I would say the main thing is being self-aware and understanding when in poker a lot of times you lose when there's a lot of variance, there's a lot of luck involved, and you lose when you make the right decision and you win when you make the wrong decision. So it's very easy to, win $2,000 in a poker game that given day and make many bad decisions and then work out for you. So having a good long-term strategy and understanding that in the short term or point to point in pickleball, shot to shot in pickleball, anything can happen. You need to understand why if you made a bad decision on a shot that you're going to lose 8 or 9 out of 10 of those points, you need to understand that. And you're going to win that one, and they're going to be right on it and miss that ball, but you need to understand those situations. And so when you make a good decision in a good shot and they hit a better shot, then, you clap your hands. If you make a bad decision and you go for a ball you shouldn't have gone to and you got away with it, you need to understand that that wasn't good strategy and it just worked out that time. So pickleball, it happens fast, it happens quick. Games are, it's just boom, boom, boom. And so coming in the moment and after the match, understanding, what really happened on the court, I think is very important, and I think having a poker background helps me to do that.
This next question comes from somebody who really needs no introduction, but it's somebody that Eddie and I are huge fans of, and that is the one and only Simone Jardim.
Hey Adam, how you doing? Just wondering if with no pickleball, unfortunately, if you've been playing some more online poker or if you've given that up completely.
Thank you, Simone, for the question, and appreciate you putting on the skills challenge, whatever that was a week or two ago, where I slightly embarrassed myself, but that's okay.
The Easter Bowl, baby.
Yeah, like Ben said, I'm basic. I have no trick shots. So the skills challenge with the between the legs and behind the backs was tough for me.
Well, you had the wind that
Simone,
was pretty nasty there. Sorry to.
Yeah, right. We did have a bit
brutal.
of a brutal wind. Gale force breeze, if that's a thing. Yeah. Gale force breeze. So it's funny that she mentioned that because it kind of got in my head a little bit. I still watch a little bit of poker, and I still kind of check a forum or two out here and there, and I noticed that the online poker traffic was up quite a bit during this COVID-19 stuff. So I actually thought about it extensively, but I didn't jump over and do it. So I have not played online poker since this started, and at this point I don't think I'm going to, but I very, very, very much considered it.
Our next question comes from a great pickleball player with a really cool sounding voice. Here's a question from Patrick Smith.
What's up, Stoney? Spotlight's on you. My question to you is, what do you do to keep your forehand drive sharp and ready to go once quarantine is over?
Appreciate that question, Pat. Up and comer on the scene. Nice guy. I've had some good battles with him, and I'm sure plenty more moving forward. The forehand drive, basically you just hit it as flat as possible, as close to the net as possible. And sometimes it's amazing, and sometimes it's terrible. And that's pretty much how my forehand drive works. I feel like I have a pretty good one, but I really don't. Yeah, I really don't drill or do anything specific for it. I have a continental grip, so I generate very little spin. I actually probably have more side spin than top spin on my drive. But yeah, when it gets hot, it can be a very big weapon for me, and I love to use the third shot drive, fifth shot drop when it's on. But unfortunately, with the low margin for error, with how flat my ball is, sometimes it's just not there. So sometimes I put it in the back pocket and focus on my dropping. But when my drive is on, or even just not off, I like to use it quite a bit, and I feel like it serves me well, and I'm a big fan of it, and I will absolutely continue to use it quite often moving forward.
For our next question, we actually want to play it without introducing the individual in the video to see if you can guess who it is.
God.
Hey Adam, before you're fixing to have breakfast, do you have a specific morning routine to make you such a good athlete?
That was the daughter of a good friend of yours and somebody that you've been a house guest of in the past.
I have no idea. I don't know.
I like how she said before you're fixing to have breakfast. I don't know if you picked up on that or not.
Oh, fixin'.
Yeah.
Fixin. That's a good one. That's a good Texas term there.
So that was actually the daughter of Martina Kochli, Scarlett.
Oh my goodness! All right, so yeah, Florida, not Texas. Gotcha. Yeah, I spent some time there. She's Martina's one of my buddies, and she's got lovely children. And her husband and her treated me very nicely when I went to stay, so I appreciated that very much. So, Scarlett, I hope things are going well. In terms of morning routine, I do have a pretty extensive routine for tournament days. So I have a little lacrosse ball stretching routine that I do where it's called myofascial release, where I kind of work the lacrosse ball into your muscles and then stretch them out. And that's worked really well for me. I feel like it has helped me stay, healthy with maybe some pulls and some tweaks. And also, I think it helps me move a little more explosively. And I can definitely tell on the court when I have done it or I haven't done it that morning. So it takes me about 30 minutes, 25 or 30 minutes, and I live by it on tournament days and do it every single day before the tournament starts. I definitely get a good breakfast too, probably somewhere 600, 700, 800 calories, and then I don't really eat throughout the day. So I like to get a big hunk of calories in, about 6:30 or 7 before the 8 o'clock start time. And then I will kind of snack or graze throughout the day is how I like to do it. So in terms of warm up, I would say I'm in the middle on warm up. I don't want to go hit for 3 minutes and then play my first round, but I certainly don't want to be out there for an hour either. So I would say 15 to 20 minutes before my first match. And then if I have a gap throughout the day or a little break in the draw where I know it's going to be a little while, then I might sneak out on the court and hit a little bit in between matches throughout the day. And that's pretty much my routine.
This one comes from a couple of my personal favorite people in the world of pickleball, and that is the mother and daughter team of Leigh and Annalie Waters.
Hey Adam, you're one of our favorite pickleball people.
And you're on the Paddle Tech team, so by now you should know that I love food. So our question to you is, what is your favorite quarantine meal?
Well, quarantine meal. Oh, that's a good question. I'm with Al. I love eating a lot all the time. It's probably the highlight of my day every day. So she's at a good age where, she can just eat whatever the hell she wants to, and a lot of it. And I am jealous and respect her for that. But I would say, lately it's just been a nice fillet. So a little Costco filet, and you can cut it up. You get 8 fillets out of it, and it's been great. So maybe I would go with green beans, baked potato, and filet. That's what I'm going with.
Oh man, that sounds delicious. I could go for a nice filet right about now.
Yeah, that would go well with that wine you picked tonight too.
That's right. That's right. We'll just see what happens after I finish this podcast. I might have to whip one up.
So this next one comes from somebody who owns a couch that Adam has become very familiar with over the years. So here is a question from Belinda Zbinden.
I wonder whose couch that is. Do you recognize it, Adam? Who could this be? Hi guys, thanks for having me, Belinda Zbinden, for like the 2 people that don't know. Adam is one of my very good friends. He spent weeks, probably months, a year at my home. And he's a wonderful house guest. I highly recommend him to all the host families out there. He is a wonderful player and person. And so let's see, what is something that would be super fun to know? Let's think. I know that you enjoy long naps and you enjoy sleeping at night. Are there any specific items that you travel with, no matter where you go, to ensure that you sleep well at night? Do tell. Thanks, guys.
Oh, Belinda, that was solid. For the 2 people that don't know, what a statement!
Right?
That just screams Belinda. That statement right there. Well, thank you very much for the question. I have spent plenty of time on that couch. Maybe a little bit less than she alluded to. A year seems like a long time to be there, but I've spent plenty of nights with her and Bubba up in St. George and a couple more down in Arizona. But yes, I do. I am flying more now, but when I first started, I was driving on these road trips because it made sense. I had plenty of time. That's really the issue with driving, is the time. So I always had a box fan with me to drown out the noise and a special pillow to take to all of the places that I was staying. So I'm pretty sure that's what she's referring to. And, when you're staying at a random place, you need that white noise, So they could be doing all kinds of stuff. And, as long as I have that humming in my ear, I can get my 9 to 11 hours of sleep a night, which I very much like.
All right, so this next one comes from another good friend of ours and a recent podcast guest. Here's one from Dekel Bar.
Stone, hope you're doing well and staying safe. Why are you called the delicate flower?
That's a good one. So that's Dekel. That's my buddy. He's my main men's partner moving forward when he's in the country. He still has some school going on in Israel, so he's only here about half the time or so. But I really enjoy competing with him and playing doubles with him, and I think we're gonna have some good success moving forward. So. Yay, Dekel. I'm a big fan of that guy, and hopefully we can crush some people the rest of this year and next year. So the delicate flower, yes. So actually this all started, well, first off, Jeff Warnick has many sayings, many very good sayings, and one of his is Downy Soft. So if you hit a phenomenal reset, you have some good dinking, you have they crush one at you, you barely put it over the net in the kitchen, you can call that Downy Soft. And so I have a little bit of that in my pickleball game, but actually where delicate flower came from was bocce ball. So we were playing bocce ball at the Chicken and Pickle that we previously talked about, and it was, I'm trying to think exactly who it was. It was Jeff, myself, Jesse Irvine, and God, who was the fourth? I just don't know. Anyway, so it was you throw the little Polina ball, and then you just try to kind of throw the balls next to them. So we were having some cocktails, and we're probably rather not sober at this point. So we were just kind of talking trash to each other, and I made a couple good shots, and so it ended up getting to the point where we were just commenting on how delicate my touch was. And so that's where it came from. And then also I had agreed to team up with or partner up with Jesse for the Hawaii tournament, which happened in January of this year. And obviously Jessie she just hits the ball harder than I do. So we were flower power. So I was the So most mixed doubles teams, it's the opposite. The guy is doing his thing and the girl is being solid. And so we just kind of mix that up a little bit with me being a little softer and Jessie just crushing the ball like she does. So so quite a backstory on that one. But yes, people do enjoy calling me the delicate flower, maybe a little bit more than I enjoy hearing it, even though I don't mind at this point. Even though I don't mind at all at this point.
Our next question comes from the Canadian sensation himself, Steve Deacon.
Hey guys, I had the pleasure of partnering up and staying with Adam Stone at an event in Florida back in February. I was so impressed with the way Adam prepared for his matches. Can you share with the viewership what that process is for Adam Stone?
See, everybody loves to hear about your preparation routine.
I know. So that's Steve Deacon, Canada's finest, and a very nice looking older gentleman, I might say. It's the salt and pepper, the salt and pepper in the hair. It really works for him. So good for you, Steve. Stacy, you're a lucky woman. So yes, more about the routine. So I told you my morning routine, but I there's also, I like to eat at a specific time the night before. I like to sometimes I have trouble sleeping, but I like to go to sleep about 10 or 11 the night before, no drinking the night before. So I think that he might have been surprised by the many things that I like to tone down before a pickleball tournament. So I take it pretty seriously. It's important to me. I love to compete. And I might be at least a little bit of a wild child in between, with whatever, weird sleeping patterns, a little bit of drinking here and there, that kind of stuff. But when it comes to tournament weekend, I lock it down pretty good. Especially if I have an extremely talented partner like Steve, I don't want to let him down. So locking it in, getting some good food and some good rest, and being in the best situation to compete at the highest level is very important to me on tournament weekend. Even though, unfortunately, with Steve, I didn't quite play my best. I think we had a real shot to win that tournament, and I wish I could have, ramped it up for him a little bit more in those last couple matches. But we got a couple more that we're going to play down the line, and very much looking forward to that.
That was not the only question we had from Steve. Steve had another great question for you. So let's go ahead and play question number 2.
I also want to know how you deal with loss, because we lost a heartbreaker in the bronze medal match, and I'm still losing sleep over it. Can you share with the viewership how you deal with loss?
No, so I guess I got a little bit into that. It was a heartbreaker, and usually I don't always watch my matches. I do a lot of the time. If it was, I tend to watch the losses more though, and so I actually held off on watching the bronze medal match of that tournament because I knew I didn't play great, and so I held off for a few weeks or maybe even a few months actually, and so I ended up watching it. I don't know, maybe a week or two ago, and it was quite disappointing. So you're playing Ben and Colin. They're obviously going to hit some great shots, but and force errors out of you, which happened plenty. But I missed several shots without being forced into it, and so that hurt my heart a little bit. But I think for the most part, I get over it fine. It sticks with me. I'll bring it up later that day, maybe even randomly a day or two later. But as I mentioned earlier with poker, you lose a lot when you play poker, and there's a ton of luck and variance involved, and so you get very used to losing. So I feel like I was very competitive growing up, and I had issues with losing. And as I've gotten later in life with maybe a slight teeny bit of maturity and also the experience of playing poker and losing thousands of dollars on many, many, many occasions, I think it helps me soften the blow, and it's not as big of an issue for me as it used to be.
The next question comes from somebody else I had a blast watching play in person at this year's Florida Grand Slam tournament, and that is Jay Duvier.
Hey buddy, this is my perfect day in quarantine. So my question for you today is, what is your perfect day?
Oh, what is my perfect day? Okay, for quarantine. No, that's a good question. Appreciate that. Jay the Frenchman, talented player, kind of jumping on the scene, into it, good partner with Pat, played them a couple times, and I think Jay's a cool guy, and I like his game, and we'll see where it takes him in the next year or two. My perfect day, my quarantine perfect day is probably a leisurely wake up, maybe somewhere between 10 and 11. And just some cook breakfast, get some exercise, maybe do, I don't know, 15 or 30 minutes of something slightly productive so I don't feel super worthless. I don't know. Maybe that's what Jay was doing, vacuuming. Maybe that's vacuuming. Maybe who knows, clean the sink or something. Just do something for 5 minutes so I'm not totally worthless, and then just relax the rest of the day. Watch some shows, watch a movie, cook dinner, and that's pretty much it. It's been pretty low key, and been doing a healthy dose of binge watching, and just trying not to be depressed by how worthless I'm being.
All right, so this next question is from another great pickleball player that Adam has teamed up with during tournaments, and here's a question from Callie Smith.
Okay, Adam, here's my question for you. I know you like to have fun on the pickleball court, but I'm sure you've had some embarrassing moments too. So what is your most embarrassing moment that you've had on the court? And if you don't have one on the court, what's your most embarrassing moment that you've had in general or in your lifetime?
Wow. Okay. So let's see here. No, that's a good question. Callie is a great player. I still have had several with her playing this year, but the situation's cutting into that a little bit. Hope things are good in Utah for you. Hopefully practicing up there with Suzee a little bit, Callie. Embarrassing moment. I'm sure I've had quite a few on the court. I'm pretty animated. I'm sure I've said some dumb stuff while I've been out there before, but I don't know. Maybe the one I'm thinking of is it was actually at my first nationals, and I was making an okay run in singles, and I was playing Tyler Leung actually, and I was scrambling for a ball. I was right on the kitchen, and I kind of basically hit a volley and fell into the kitchen and landed on my knee. And I kind of sprawled out a little bit. It definitely hurt. It didn't really affect me too much or at all for the rest of that day. But the next day when I woke up, it was a bit of an issue, and I actually didn't play for about a month and a half after that. So I fell down, fell in the kitchen, lost the point, and hurt myself for a month and a half on that one point. So like I said, I didn't really feel it the rest of the singles day. I had a couple more matches, but the next day I knew something was wrong and ended up being a little bit of a bone bruise on my knee. So that's probably what I would say.
This next question is an interesting one, and it comes from a great friend of all of ours, and that is the one and only Corrine Carr.
Hey Adam, so you have two nicknames for your doubles partner Dekel, Big D and BDL. When Dekel was on Eddie and Webby, he was, I think, too embarrassed to explain BDL. So would you please explain it?
No, that's a good question. Multiple people have asked that, and so Big D. I mean, it's just his name. His name's Dekel, so you call him Big D. He's a big guy. He's probably 6'3", and he's got long arms, and so BDL is just Big D long. That's what that means. And so you'll be in a situation where you completely fool the guy. He's moving the other direction and you hit the ball behind him perfectly and he just kind of reaches his arm out, rawr, 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 and he's there, or or there's a big open space on the court and you're like, oh my God, look at this giant space on the court. I'm just gonna put that ball over there for a winner. And this giant Israeli arm comes out of nowhere and slaps a winner. So so there's so we say BDL whenever that situation happens, and there's some gross people out there that kind of relate that to something sexual, but it has nothing to do with that. It's only professional. It only has to do with this pickleball game, and nothing else, because that would be crazy and gross.
That's right. All right, so this next question comes from a longtime friend and supporter of ours, and that is Michelle Esqivel.
Hey, Adam. Hey, Eddie and Webby. My question for Adam is, since pickleball isn't really played internationally right now, where would you want your first professional pickleball tournament to be at globally, and why? Hope you guys are doing well, and we'll see you soon.
Oh, Michelle, thanks for that question. That's a good question. I haven't thought a ton about that. I guess I would maybe just say Australia, because that's the place that I would like to go in general. So why not just piggyback that with a pickleball tournament? I think that would be very cool. I was planning on, I actually did a little getaway right here. I got the shirt on right now here. Pickleball getaways right here, and that was with Michelle in Cancun. So we went out of the country for that, but we were actually planning had a trip planned out to go to Portugal to do a camp there, which was very exciting, but it did get canceled or at least postponed until next year because of the situation. So so maybe those would be my two choices. I've heard great things about Portugal. I was very excited. I have never been there before, and I was very excited about going to teach the camp. So maybe those would be my top two spots.
All right, so closing out tonight's edition of Pros Asking Pros Questions is another one of our all-time favorite people, and that is our good friend Irina Tereschenko.
Hi, Adam Stone. Irina Tereschenko here, your pedal tech teammate and traveling companion. Can you please share with the viewers the names of two players, one male, one female, who, in your opinion, have the biggest potential for crushing it in the upcoming pickleball season, and why?
Oh, wow. Okay. No, that's a good question. Man, I didn't realize I was so many things to Irina. I mean, and I agree with all of that. Travel companion, pedal tech teammate, best buddy. I mean, all those things qualify for Irina and myself. So thank you very much for that question. Let's see here. I don't know. Why don't we go with Jay? He was on earlier. He sent me a question. He has a rock solid racket sport background. Played tennis, I believe, at Wichita State. I might have lied about that, but I think that's right. He's a strong guy, a big guy, probably I think maybe 6'2" or 6'3". So he has some good reach, an opposing figure up there at the kitchen line, and he seems into it, which is important, practicing, putting in the work, getting over that learning curve, especially for doubles, is important, and I think that he's over that hump. So I think he's a talented guy. He's young, 26. He's got some age-related upside there, which is important. So I will pick Jay for the men. For the women, that is a great question. I guess she's kind of already on the scene, but maybe I would say Regina Franco, just because she lit me up the last time we played. That's the thing that comes to mind off the top of my head. She's a scrappy player. She gets a lot of balls back in play. She's young as well. Like I said, the last time I played, which was with Jay, it was her and Jay. She lit me up, hit me a couple times, and had a couple different tricks in her bag from the first time or two that we played. So maybe I'll throw that to Regina, and she can have a solid season coming up.
Pickleball addicting and fun, that's no joke. Pickleball and it's not just for old folks. Pickleball.